Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central this evening with another installment of Doc Ock at noon and 9. Tonight, we continue the story of the Black Panther Party as related via the graphic novel. The Black Panther Party in a graphic novel. Whoever thought? Well, let's go ahead and get chilly, Willie, because it's time for us to get real and present the real deal to all of our listeners and sustaining members out there. First but foremost, you know what I want you to do? Go ahead, give us a like if you're watching us on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up if you're looking at us on YouTube. And last but not least, go ahead and inform your friends, your family, your neighbors, everybody in your hood that it would be real good for them to tune in to Doc Ock at noon and 9. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Tonight, we've got a proverb for you from the Cameroon. Thought breaks the heart. Thought breaks the heart. Now, I know you thought she broke your heart and somebody else thought he broke her heart, but no, it really was thought that broke the heart. Remember that. Thought breaks the heart. Proverb from Cameroon. All right. Now, we're going to continue on with our story from the Black Panther graphic novel. The Black Panther graphic novel. And we left off last night with, we left off on this page here where you see all of these memorable figures from the civil rights movement of the 50s and the 1950s and the 1960s. We have Dr. Martin Luther King front and center at the top. Right below him off to the left, you see Coretta Scott King. Going all the way down to the bottom left, you see Fred Shuttlesworth. Next to him, Ella Baker, Bayard Rustin. Right next to him, A. Philip Randolph. And right below Dr. King, Ralph Abernathy. So we talked about them last night and the Supreme Court decisions that led to the desegregation of schools, or led to the legal desegregation of schools and interstate bus travel. In reality, there were some other things that actually went down, but we're not going to go into all those details tonight. What we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and flip the page. Turn this page to the next page. Whoops. If it'll go. There we go. Okay, and we're going on to the next page here, where we're going to talk about some of the martyrs of the civil rights era. Now, obviously, Martin Luther King was one of those martyrs. A martyr being somebody who is killed for something that they believe in. And Martin Luther King definitely died for something that he believed in. But he wasn't the only one. Some people died almost as what we would call today a form of collateral damage. In other words, they weren't necessarily out protesting. They weren't integrating a school. They weren't, what do they call them? Block busting. They weren't going into a neighborhood and moving their family into a neighborhood. They were just going to Sunday school, minding their own business. And so we're talking here about the 4 little girls you see pictured in the top left corner there. Despite the commitment to nonviolence made by Dr. King and other members of the civil rights movement, the racist opposition to desegregation did not practice nonviolence. Dr. King practiced nonviolence. The people he was in opposition to, however, did not cotton to nonviolence at all. Matter of fact, they were extremely violent, as we shall see. On September 15, 1963, members of the white supremacist hate group, the Ku Klux Klan, bombed the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, killing 11-year-old Denise McNair and three 14-year-olds, Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, and Carol Robertson. What was their crime? They were in Sunday school. That was their crime. No one was held responsible for the killings for more than 10 years. Took that long before anybody was convicted of having put that bomb in their church. Now, at that time, there were so many bombs going off in Birmingham that the local folks had taken to giving Birmingham a new nickname. Instead of calling it Birmingham, the people actually called it Bombingham, because there were bombs going off like that on a regular basis. You could hear them like it was a construction project going on or something. You could hear the sound of the heavy equipment rolling in, or like thunder and lightning. You would just hear them on a regular basis, never knowing when or where they were going to strike at next. 3 months before the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church, civil rights leader Medgar Evers was assassinated in front of his house by white supremacist Byron de la Beckwith. It would take more than 30 years for de la Beckwith to be convicted of the murder. Now, I don't have all the details on la Beckwith. However, I do know that 30 years, if he was in his 30s or say his early 40s when he participated in that bombing, or when he participated in the killing of Medgar Evers, that by the time they did catch up with him and put him in jail, he was fairly decrepit. And I don't remember how long he stayed in jail. Did he die in jail, or did they let him out on a compassionate release deal? I'm not sure about that. But that's something you can certainly go and Google whenever you get a chance. Don't do it now. Then down at the bottom of the page, we've got 3 other young men that were also martyred early on in the struggle for civil rights in the United States of America, not just in the South, but in the U.S. period. Andrew Goodman, James Chaney, Michael Schwerner were civil rights activists working to register voters in Mississippi. All 3 of them were young students from colleges. 2 of them at least were students from colleges up north. I'm not sure about the third one, but they were all young people, and they were all involved in just trying to help black people register to vote in the state of Mississippi. All 3 were killed by a group of white supremacists on June 21st, 1964. So I was only about 6 years old around that time. They were not the only victims of fatal racist attacks. Between 1955 and 1968, there were 41 civil rights martyrs killed in violent attacks. So these were all people who were involved in the civil rights struggle in some kind of way. They might have been encouraging their parishioners to go out and register to vote. They may have been trying to register to vote themselves. They may have been trying to help other people register to vote. They may have been doing any one of a number of things. They may have been killed just for reckless eyeballing. That was actually an offense that you could commit, particularly in the South. If you looked at somebody wrong, you were dead. So I'm going to read off the names of 8 of those people. Reverend George Lee, 51. He was killed on May 7, 1955. Lamar Smith was 63 years old on August 13, 1955, when he was slain. John Earl Reese was 16 on October 22, 1955, when he was killed. Willie Edwards Jr. was 24 on January 23, 1957, when he was murdered. Mac Charles Parker was 23 on April 25, 1959. Herbert Lee, 49, was 49 on September 25th, 1961, when he was murdered. Roman Ducksworth Jr. was 28 years old on April 9, 1963, when he was slain. And last but not least, Paul Guihard was 31 years old on September 30th, 1962. Now, you may notice some similarities there between those victims of these terrorist organizations that were out there, or victims of these terrorists. Some of them might not have been part of an organized group, but just individuals, okay, who had very negative feelings about black people in particular, and black people that voted even more particularly. So the thing I noticed is that they were all men. And number two, I noticed that their ages ranged from 16 to 63. Maybe there's some things you might notice about them as well. Okay, if so, go ahead, make a comment. You can leave your comment on in the chat area on YouTube, or you can comment on Facebook if you're watching this on Facebook. So I just wanted to read off some of their names, because that's one of our mottos at this time. Matter of fact, I just created a group, and it's called Say Their Names, that we want to remember their names, just like we do Cheney and Goodman and Schwerner, and just like we do the names of those four little girls, Carol Denise McNair, what's the other ones? Oh, Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, and Carol Robertson. We should remember their names, because as long as we keep calling their names, they continue to live, because we remember them. So we want to remember them. The violent opposition to civil rights led many to question the validity of nonviolence. In the late 1950s, Robert F. Williams formed the Black Armed Guard in North Carolina, an organization that was, see, I'm behind on my pictures. Sorry about that. An organization that was dedicated to protecting civil rights activists against racist attacks. Williams and his organization traded shots with the KKK, and in 1961, he relocated to Cuba, where he broadcast the radio program Radio Free Dixie to the southern U.S. In 1962, he published his book, Negroes with Guns. Now, just for your information, I know I skipped over those last two pages where I had the pictures of all the different martyrs that I mentioned, but on the next couple of nights, I'm going to return to these pages, and I'm going to read the names of 8 people on each of those nights. So it'll take me another 3 nights, and I'll read through the names of the rest of those people. So if you miss seeing their images tonight, you'll be able to catch them on our upcoming live stream. In November 1964, Ernest Chilly Willie Thomas and Frederick Douglass Kirkpatrick formed the Deacons for Defense and Justice in Jonesboro, Louisiana. Within a year, there would be more chapters of the Deacons in Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. The armed organization worked with nonviolent civil rights groups, providing security at marches and rallies. The protection of the Deacons allowed organizations like the NAACP to maintain their practice of nonviolence. In rejecting nonviolence, Malcolm X became one of the most controversial black leaders of the time. First, as a leader in the Nation of Islam from 1952 to 1964, and then as the founder of the Organization of Afro-American Unity. I do not favor violence. If we could bring about recognition and respect of our people by peaceful means, well and good. Everybody would like to reach his objectives peacefully. But I'm also a realist. The only people in this country who are asked to be nonviolent are black people. Mm. Now, you know that's true. All you got to do is just watch TV. Um, right now, one of the programs I've been watching a lot is Gunsmoke. And Gunsmoke starts off with Matt Dillon standing, the law officer, the policeman, the local marshal, the U.S. marshal, standing in the middle of the street having a showdown with some other guy. And all you hear is bam, bam, two rapid fire shots. So everybody else has a gun except us. We're the only ones that are told we shouldn't have guns, we can't have guns. There need to be laws to restrict our ability to have guns. If we're caught with a gun, we need to be carted off to jail, etc. This is something that it has been an ongoing situation for quite some time. But while everybody else is armed, so I'm not saying that we should all go out and get guns. I don't have a gun. However, I am saying, though, that just like they say today that Israel has the right to defend itself, I would have to say, yes, black people, we do have the right to defend ourselves. If we're under attack, not feel like we're under attack, if we are actually being threatened and under attack, I believe we do have the right to defend ourselves, just like anybody else. Okay, just like anybody else. So this topic it may seem like kind of a heavy topic for young people, especially as a bedtime story. However, we need to tell our children these stories at some point in time. Not telling them these stories means that they end up repeating the very same actions that we've already been through. And continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is a definition of insane. So I'd rather expose our children to these kinds of stories than to allow our children to continue to be insane in the brain just because we felt these stories should not be told. We'd rather suppress them. And that's why we're reading books like these, the Black Panther Party graphic novel, because we've only gotten our only image of the Black Panther Party is what we saw in the movie, the Black Panther movie. We didn't get any anything more detailed or comprehensive or independently produced. In other words, not produced by Hollywood. And so there we have it in a nutshell. So for tonight, I need all my little children out there in La La Land to go ahead and lay down your head on your little pillow, on your little bed, close those yeah eyes, and wait for that sun to rise. And when you feel those sunbeams beaming down on your eyes, that's when you know it's time for you to rise and shine, O children of mine. And as for all you adults out there, what I need you to do is not only to spread the word to your friends and your family and your neighbors too, but go ahead and make a donation. Become a sustaining member of our Black Facts family. And the way you do that is you can go to our website at blakfacts.org. You can donate there. You'll see the donation link at the top of the page. You can donate on our Facebook pages in the Center of Pan-African Culture, and you can also donate on my homepage. But you have to go into your notifications to find the donation link if you're doing it on your phone. If you're doing it on the computer, you should see the link right below the our live streams, all of our live streams. So there's a couple different places where you can go to make these donations. I'm going to make it even more obvious than that as soon as I can. Just give me about another 24 hours on that one. And in the meanwhile, I hope that we leave you with a smile for a while because we're doing it in good style. Give us some comments. Give us some feedback. Let us know what else you would like to see, hear, or know about. If we're not covering a topic that you'd like us to cover, you let us know. because we've got something about everything here in our Black Facts archives. The Edward and Shirley Crosby archives. All right. Peace out without a doubt, y'all. We'll be black tomorrow at noon. Look for us then.